Ready?
Ready.
All right, welcome everyone. Can we do pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Volrath?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Blanton is excused. All right, first thing that I've got, a 2027 budget submittal.
Right. I sent this report a few weeks ago to the trustees, the Finance Committee, Mr. Brett. The Finance Committee, we met last Thursday. We went through it. Once again, it's just something we have to do. We're the only county in the state that has to do it, but we do it. It gives you a forecast out to 31 of a trend, what we're spending now, and in the previous years of what we actually have spent. I put, if you need a report, there's copies here. The general fund, if renewed, it kind of will be, when I did the fire levy or fire fund, I did not include the district. That is not a done deal at all. So I kept it as what we're doing today. And all the levies, you know, and it's hard. You don't know we don't know what the police is going to do in, 28, 29. So it's hard to budget. You know, I just kind of went with what we're, the percent rate now. The Finance Committee, Joe, if you haven't.
Yeah, I think we're fine. You know, like it's hard to figure out some of the stuff.
Right, if we don't do a fire district, we will definitely have to do something with the fire levy, is my opinion on, based on this report, so. And the police levy.
Got it.
Yeah. So, anything from the public?
Any questions for Ms. Ozer?
I just so I understand, as far as your fire levy, are you talking about to continue to pay your current services as far as employees? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
A new
yes.
one? A new fire levy?
That's something we would all have to discuss, but.
When this one expires.
Right, because I mean, based on this information, based on what we're seeing.
What year are you looking at?
Let me look here.
5 years from last year.
So in 31, well, let me go back. The levy is up in 29. The levies, the one that we need to renew.
Okay.
It's up in 29, but based on this report, based on what we're spending, that 31 is when the balance is low.
You're projecting your levy out 31?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. That's
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
the ones we have now are continuing, correct?
Some, yeah,
They're
and then
all
there's one
continuing.
that's voted on.
Well, I thought
Right.
they were all continuing.
No, they're not all continuing.
All right, any other questions? All right, I will make a motion for the acceptance of the minutes from the May 20th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees.
I will second.
I'm sorry, I'm waiting on it.
Did we have any, we didn't have any action for the budget submit, it's just a discussion?
You will need to do that in the meeting. That's what I was kind of waiting on.
What's
You
that?
will have to approve this
That's
in the meeting.
submittal?
Okay.
Okay,
All right, so the minutes.
Yep.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, and then I'll make a motion for the approval of special meeting minutes from June 5th of 2026.
I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
And then make a motion for the acceptance of the invoices from 5/21 of 26 to 6/16 of 2026.
Second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, do you want to do that?
It's up to you
Budget
guys if
submittal
you
now?
want to do that
Okay.
now or wait till you're,
All right, I'll make a motion for the 2027 budget submittal.
Now we're just accepting that as a framework, whatever.
yeah, I just have to submit it to the county for their records.
Okay. I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Sheriff's report. Come on up.
Sergeant Koo with Sheriff's Office filling in for Lieutenant McElroy. So if I don't have all the answers, I apologize. For the month of May, there was 316 runs. 220 of those runs were dispatched. 96 were self-initiated. There were 8 criminal reports taken, 8 non-criminal reports taken, and 4 auto accident reports, and 16 incidents total.
All right,
That was for the month of May.
thank you. Any questions from the public? Anything from the board?
Well, and I believe you, we don't have to go into the particulars necessarily, but
Yeah.
you submitted a report to the board for us to see that Flock is up and running.
Correct.
And that we're getting our bang for our buck, and that there's a lot of resources and good things that are coming out of that, and that, so I don't know if you want to share anything.
So sure, the report printed off was kind of the hot list showing things such as we have protection orders, stolen vehicles, stolen license plates, sex offenders, and warrants that are driving by. I know you guys are still awaiting one flock camera. I think tentatively, when I checked the other day, it was scheduled for the 22nd. And that would be the last one to get installed.
So yeah, Mr. Brett and I met with Lieutenant McElroy and had a good discussion about that. And I don't know if Mr. Brett feels like if you have anything to add, but I felt like it was good. I know that there's been were a few things with permitting to get the last camera or two, but again, as out of the 8 cameras. We negotiated for 4 of them to be paid by the county, 4 of them for us, and I think we have 6 or 7 of them that have been up and operating. And
7 should be up and operating.
Perfect.
As of today.
okay,
Yes.
And obviously we've had some excitement in our township, and it's good to have those resources for things like that.
Absolutely. It's a great investigative tool.
Great. Anything else from
I have nothing
you
else.
or Jim?
No, other than I think it might be pertinent to mention that they see where the people are that have protection orders, but they're not going out and stopping them because they have a protection order someplace. I mean, so
Correct.
some of the things they're watching, they only use if they have a need for.
Correct.
So these, everything that you see, they're not out stopping all these people. They're not, being Big Brother, but if there's an incident, then you use that information.
We were able to go into that, yes.
Yes, I think that's a good explanation. That
Yeah,
no one's
we're
just sitting there all day.
making these stops. We did not have 281 traffic stops
Correct.
on all these flockets. No.
Correct. Exactly. So I just want to clarify that.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sarge. Appreciate it.
All right, let's go to the administrator report. Mr. Brown.
Good evening. I do want to, one thing that I forgot to put in your written copy. I talked with Dan about this, and I think he might have wanted to talk about this a little more, but we'll do that next month. In talking with Mr. Miller about the condition of the offices down at the maintenance shop, they're just old, antiquated, need clean. They need upgrades in technology and things. And in looking at what we can do with them to get them what they need, Jimmy Hughes's office at Station 69, or sorry, 69 is available. And we're going to move them up there. They're going to start their day there. So we'll still use that building down on Cooper and Cleves as a storage building and things, but we're going to move them up where they can get a little better technology going and have a cleaner environment. One of the things that we're working on is obviously we found out with the boilers here, they needed to be serviced at a regular interval and it wasn't done. So I started a spreadsheet that Brian is going to work with us on, and we're going to go building by building and list out all our assets and when they need to be serviced, what the time frame is, how long we think their lifespan will be, and that'll be part of that projection that we keep talking about getting together and doing, somewhat similar to what the fire department does with their equipment and the maintenance department does with the trucks and mowers and things. We're just going to do that for everything. So we know what's coming and what we can expect cost-wise. So I think that'll be a good move for them. Next up, we're the Jordan Road water line project. We've done all the taps and we've run all the lines to the individual lots. I thought that was going to be, all people would have to do is call the Cleese Waterworks, pay for their water meter, and they'd be able to start their process of getting tapped in. But apparently there is the tap fee is no longer for the tap. The tap fee goes to their continuing operations. So I'm now told that for a 5/8 inch tap, every homeowner is going to have to pay $4,200 for that. That's somewhat news to us, and I think that used to be $1,300. That's not an unusual rate for a tap fee, around the county, but it's something, since we were putting the taps in, running the lines, that we thought would be included, but it's not. So I talked to Mr. Habig, their administrator. He said if we'd like, he will take it to council because he can't waive tap fees, but he would take it to them and ask them if they would consider that. So it's up to you if you would like me to do that. Just give me a nod, and
Yes.
so, and we'll see what we can do with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand how a tap fee is not the fee for
For the tap.
the tap. I think that would be good for them to make that request to council, because it sounds sort of like a double fee there to me. But I mean, if they can explain it better, great. But I think that would be a prudent request to be made to council by the administrator.
He said he was more than glad to do that, so
Yeah,
I think we take him up on it.
You're looking at close, I think you had mentioned close to 20 taps at this point, correct?
Correct.
So-
So, we're looking at a total of about $80,000, actually a little more.
And we already stepped up and did,
Yeah.
significant
Yeah, we put those,
investment in.
we did the taps in the main and ran the lines to the homes, which, we wouldn't have had to have done, but I think it was the right thing to do at the time.
And there's been, this has been an exhaustive process, so the residents, when we made that commitment, believed that was taking care of the taps, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
And, the taps were, but the fee
right,
is not,
okay.
so.
Yeah, if you can have that conversation with Mr.
Yeah.
Habig and have him bring that before council.
Yeah, he
see what
said
they
he'd be glad to do that for us.
say. Okay.
So the West Park expansion, we made some revisions to the ball field design at the request of Trustee Blanton and Parks Manager J.J. Clark. And I expect to get a change order for the cost on that for you to approve soon.
Was it, and question on that, was that not, that field got really dropped down size-wise from what the original understanding of design was?
The original was going to basically bleed out into the floodway, which used to be, you could do stuff like that in the floodway, but the county has taken a more strict stance against that. So Mark Rosenberger from Bear Becker shoehorned in what he could. We pulled the field back a little bit, and so I think we'll be able to get at least maybe 225 feet, 230 down the
Which
the
puts you at the
lines.
14 and under,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. So Mark has redone the plans. It's over to the contractor to look at, and there shouldn't be a large cost involved with that, other than they also asked that we take the grass infield out and just do dirt, and they had already done the site work for that. So there'll be a little bit of cost to tear that out and add some ball field dirt in there. But I don't expect it to be a big cost, but so I'll let you know what it is.
So the dimensions were the dimensions requested by the Three Rivers Athletic Association, I believe, at the park.
That field was supposed to start out, I believe, close to 250 feet. And
Okay.
that was what was in the original drawing, that was the original understanding, if I remember correctly. I think that was like a 250-foot field. How that got down below 200 feet with nobody saying a word about that, I don't know.
It came out in the final drawings at about 215. And I don't know how many levels that cut out.
Quite a few.
But, and it was interesting because JJ originally said, oh, 215 is fine. And then I guess some people at TCRAA said, no, that changes this and this. And
Yeah,
so
you have to-
we went back and forth, had a couple meetings down there and got it worked out. So used to be in the floodway, as long as you didn't add dirt in the floodway, you were fine. Now, if you change the elevation more than 1 inch, you have to have a permit. And that's that permit that we talked about that just the engineering part of it was over $60,000 to do. That's, yeah. The floodway's where it is. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, in the old days, you might have went and picked up the survey stake and moved it, but nowadays Google Earth will probably show the person moving it and they'll be in trouble. So.
And you said we were going from grass to dirt?
Correct.
And did Bayer and Becker request that, or?
No, Dan and JJ requested that. So our TC, I don't know who made the request to Dan.
Okay.
That I have no idea.
So Dan actually said that he thought it was always going to be dirt, but the plans since I've been here showed grass. So,
I mean, I've never seen a grass infield, but
well, I think the Danny Gray's infield at Cleese used to be grass. I don't know if it still is.
I've been playing
but-
ball a long time. I've never
Yeah.
played on a grass infield.
So the other thing that we're going to do there, because of and this makes no sense at all to me why you have to have a detention pond next to the river, but we have to have a detention pond. You can't just have a pipe out to the river. The detention pond gets really close to the left field foul line, and in looking at that, Mark and I talked about it. I said, that's just, I can see the right or the left fielder going after a foul ball and ended up at the bottom of that detention pond. So we are going to extend the fence down that outfield line and put a gate in for access for them to get into the infield. So that's just I think that's a pertinent safety change. So we have that coming.
Okay.
Events, our first summer concert and our America 250 drone show is this Friday. I hope everybody can make it up here. If I hate to bet on the weatherman, but if he's correct, we should have a great evening for it, and should be a good event. It's the Michelle Robinson Band, and I think Lindsay's got everything under control, she says. So it's a big event for one of her first, and I'm hoping it goes well. So let's see. General fund levy, we're having to adjust the language on that this evening.
Again,
and I looked at it. I think part of the problem is they kept going back to the one that we decided not to put on in January rather than the one that we were working with currently. So Tim Stinner at the auditor's office, who reviews this, or his department does, actually sent the language the way that it needs to be. I sent that to Alex, and
how do we continue to get
Right.
wrong language on this stuff from our legal counsel, and it never gets caught, and we just keep approving these resolutions, and how many meetings has this
agree.
been now that we've had to do this?
I mean, right.
I don't know, but that, I mean, that, you know, it's provided by us, by our staff, but we pay the legal counsel. I mean, that's what,
Right.
it's not cheap. I mean, we pay them a good hourly rate to be the experts on this and provide us with the current, accurate language, and it's happened way more than it should have.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that we used to do in-house, but since we're doing our legal stuff through Frost, Brown, Todd, and Gibbons, you know, we're kind of stuck going with what they send us. So,
Okay.
but the one thing that is on your agenda later on for this is we will, when we get the information back from the auditor's office, the county auditor, we'll need to have a special meeting to place this question on the ballot if we choose to do that. So, and while I ask us to pick a date, I think it might be prudent to just wait till we get it back and,
Right.
you know, do a special meeting notice and do that. So, the cell tower site lease, I'm still having some discussions with them. They're trying to get me to throw out a price. I'm trying to get them to throw out a price, but I just told them that the board didn't think that $500 a month was worth the aesthetic aggravation to the neighbors. So we'll see what happens with that. So I put in this report that the administration building lot would be closed yesterday and today. And we tried to get this work moved, but the weather's been so bad, and it was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago, and it keeps getting pushed back, but they got it done. It looks great. It's dry to walk on. We can get on it tomorrow to drive on, set up the stage for the concert on Friday. They said no problem. I think it looks great. So, I think we got it before there was any major damage to the blacktop, so we should be in good shape with it for 3 to 5 years. So, on our little electronic list of things that will need to be done.
So I could have walked on it when I came in instead of doing a balancing act on the curb, trying to get here.
Oh, yeah, you could have walked on it, but
I'm sure that
I'm
looked
gonna
just
go
great.
get the video.
I'm gonna say we're gonna pull the camera video of that and
Great.
send it to the
Okay.
bloopers people.
Right.
Let's see, cemetery roads are in the same situation. They had worked that into their schedule and kept getting backed up because of the rain. They were gonna do it the week of Memorial Day, and Wayne thought that was a really bad idea with everything that goes on over there. So we're probably 2 to 3 weeks out with them, and but it will be nice to see that project get done.
Well, while we're on that cemetery road aspect, I know there's 2 new benches in there. My understanding from Wayne is we are awaiting the balance of those benches, is that correct?
We're waiting on the Eagle Scout who wanted to do that as his project, and as a matter of fact, I emailed him yesterday to see where he was at on that. Last correspondence I had with him was about a month ago, and part of that process is they need to find funding for part of their project. So he was, and the Miami Civic Association had told me they had some money for him, and I told him whatever he couldn't get funded to talk with me, and we would work out getting the rest of the benches for him. So
We need those in.
I would like to see those in, yeah. So and while we're talking about the cemetery, you know, we bought some new garbage cans for down there, and I know that's not a big fancy thing that everybody wants to look at, but they really show the difference between the old, worn and aged ones, and I think when we get the benches in, we're going to want to replace the rest of those too. So by that time, the roads will be finished, and our cemetery will look brand new again.
Okay.
The Jordan Road Creek erosion control, I met with Mr. Oakes down there. He showed me where he was worried about the county, and that is going to become a problem for the county. Based on what they told him and what they told me, I see them waiting till that becomes a big problem for them. And then they'll probably go in and do a piered wall or something like that in there when they could fix it a little cheaper now. And I'm still having that conversation with them, trying to get them to fix it now. That doesn't have anything to do with the home that was mentioned. That's on private property, but he does have, a big erosion problem there. You can see where that creek, Jordan Creek, has moved, I guess would be west, probably maybe 50 foot, 60 foot, and he's losing his side and backyard quickly. So Kirk and I talked about trying to help him, find somebody to help him or whatever he can get to put in there to kind of redirect that creek back to where it needs to be. And that needs tapping upstream from his house. So I think it's his property that we could start on that. So that won't have anything to do with the township, but, just, if I can help him find some material and stuff, we'll be glad to do that. So, let's see. So last month I said that I would get the Let's Talk Miami Township presentation up on our website. I have not done that. It's just been a busy month, but I have time in my schedule scoped out for that next week, so I will get that up next week. Let's see. The administration building and event center planning proposal for the rear of the building is on your agenda for tonight. It was tabled last month. Playground surface repairs at the event center. Mr. Newman, who was here last month, called me and said, hey, you said you'd fix these and you didn't. Well, they went out and they fixed some spots that he hadn't identified. They missed one of the spots that he identified. So Wayne was up here this morning with his maintenance crews, got it fixed. So everything's good on that. Nuisance complaints. Of course, this always happens. Mr. Lindenschmidt told us he couldn't help us anymore, and we're getting a slew of those in. So Mike and I have been talking about those. A gentleman over on Overton contacted Mr. Volrath, and I'd already been there and missed him. Come to find out, he was just in his backyard. I went to the front door. But very nice gentleman, very legitimate complaints, and hope to help him. And the home down on Bridgetown Road with the honeysuckle that we've been talking about, it's growing up and abandoned too, it looks like. So we're going to send out notices on that one as well, along with several others.
Yeah, the grass is high there.
Yeah.
There's two pieces of property that are there. This guy's right on 4301 Overton. He's 97. Been there 72 years, and
Wow.
he said he's never seen property look that bad.
Sure.
I would agree with that. I stopped and chatted with him. So
Sure.
And I got to tell you, how old did he tell you he was?
he said he was 97.
Yeah, and he gets around better than I do.
Yeah.
He was in amazingly good shape. I talked earlier about the Eagle Scout project at the cemetery. We have a young lady who is trying to obtain her Eagle Scout certification, and I just sent this to Mike because I just got it from her and met with her this week. She would like to do a native flower area somewhere here on the grounds, and the first thing I asked her is, I said, these projects are great, but when you go off to college, and her mom was with her, and she was kind of like, if she goes. So I'm not sure if she goes off or if she goes to college, but mom seemed to be in favor of her leaving. But anyway, she said that she had a commitment from the scout troop that they would help maintain it in the future, and they meet here, so I think it would be easy for them to do. I had picked out a spot. Mike hasn't seen it yet, but I talked to Wayne about it, and we walked out, and it was the exact spot she had in mind. It would be below the ramp coming down the hill, and on top of that hill at the retaining wall, so you could see it from the walking trail. You could see it as you walk down that ramp. It would be a really nice area for it, and I think it would be a great project. So you'll have more on that. I guess if Mike allows it and Wayne's fine with it, we can go ahead with that project. So, and that's all I have for the evening, unless you have something for me.
Anything? Okay, I have nothing. Any questions from the public for Mr. Brett? Barry?
Jim, back to the Jordan Road water line project, we got two individuals here that just came in that I know for a fact live on Jordan Road, and they didn't get to hear that because they were a little late. Could you go over that again and explain to these two gentlemen that what we're discussing is possibly a $4,200 charge per household, or have I misunderstood you?
No, you understood. Actually, I talked with Mr. Oakes about it. He's the one who brought it to my attention. So at this point in time, the village is saying that they need to be paid the tap fee anyway, even though they basically are saying the tap fee isn't for the tap any longer, it's for the maintenance of the system. And even though we put the taps in, ran the lines to the homes, and I think there used to be a $400 or $500 fee for a meter, and I expected that, but we didn't expect that they would charge tap fee when we put the taps in. But their administrator, Justin Habig, has told me that he can't waive those fees, but that he will, if I ask him, and I got approval from the trustees to request this, I'm going to ask him to take it to their council at their next meeting and ask them to waive those fees. And we'll see what he can get done there with us. He offered to do that, said he would take it to them. So in total, I think there's about 20 taps that, because they reused some of the meters there on East Miami, and they're at the corner of Jordan. So there's probably 20 new homes, and $4,200, that's a little over $80,000. So I can understand them wanting the money to maintain their system, but I think back when we started with this project, that tap fee was probably $1,300 or $1,400, and a $4,200 tap fee is not unusual. It's somewhat common throughout the area. Actually, I think it might be still a little low, but it was something that we didn't expect, and I don't believe anybody was charged a tap fee in the previous projects. So I'm not sure about that, but anyway, that's where we're at. We're going to ask Mr. Habig to take it to Cleve's Council next month and see if they'll give us some relief for our residents on that.
Can I make a remark on that?
Sure.
Or do you want to say something?
If you can, Barry, if you could come up to the microphone. Sorry, helps us get the minutes
Okay, my name is
correct.
Barry Moreline. 5612 Gum Run Road is where I live currently. When I listen to this, I'm a little puzzled due to the fact that we've been dealing with this water main for years. Now, I know for a fact when we go back on record, and I probably have pretty damn good notes of it, that we discussed there would be no fee for any tap to a resident on Jordan Road, mainly to the fact that the project took forever for various reasons. Now, Justin Habig's name has come up in this. I don't even think Justin Habig was over the waterworks when we discussed this previously in the past.
He was not.
And I appreciate what Justin's trying to do to get this waived, but this should have been thought of by the previous person if they wanted money for these taps before Justin took this position, because we've been talking about this for quite some time. So I'm a little puzzled. And honestly, I'm going to throw this out there, and I don't know how anybody feels about it. If there is a fee, I think Miami Township should pay for it for the residences. That's personally just my opinion. That's asking you for $80-some thousand, but I don't think there should be $80,000 for no one to pay. I thought it was all included in the price when the contractor bid the project to put the taps in. I thought the contractor had that in his bid, whatever it was, 1.9 million, correct?
Yeah, it's
The
gonna end
total?
up at that.
I thought that 80,000 was in that total price of the project. So it seems to me, and I could be wrong, someone's looking for 80 grand that doesn't deserve it.
I would say
That's just
that,
my opinion.
Yeah.
The contractor got the 80 grand to put the taps in. So now Cleves wants 80 grand. Am I right? It's Cleves.
you're correct, and it was previous people who are gone now who made that commitment and said, yeah, you put it in, people just have to pay for the meter and they're good to go.
Correct. And it was up to
And-
the homeowner to take it from the meter to the house on their own dime.
That happened actually before I got
The
here.
homeowner, but nothing to do with the tap.
Yeah, that happened before I,
And I
Came to
agree
Miami
with you,
Township.
Jim. I'm saying,
yeah,
and Justin, I don't believe was in that position.
not.
When we discussed this. And I believe it's on tape, it's on record, and I believe I even questioned Dan Blanton. Dan, there will be no charge for the tap. And multiple times. And I always thought the word was no, Barry.
Well, again, this
And I
comes,
hope-
yeah, I mean, this comes down to, this isn't a charge, we're not saying, hey, we're gonna charge
Exactly.
$4,200. That, look, I can appreciate your position on that, and I would feel the same way. Let us at least have the conversation with the council, let's see where this bounces.
I agree 100%, and if Justin can get that way, we got no problems. But if he doesn't, then we got a problem.
Sure.
And I don't want to rehash the whole, I mean, we've been through this multiple versions of whatever, but if I can just point out, at one point, we were going to pay for half of the line, and Cleves was going to pay for half of the line, was the discussion that was being had, correct? Just in
essence,
in
yes.
essence,
We were
okay.
gonna pay for the
And
Jordan Road
and
part.
then we said, you know what, okay, they're not going to do that, we'll just go ahead and pay for the whole line. And then I think it was, okay, we're going to pay for the whole line, and we're going to pay for the taps. And so I just want where we are today to reflect of how we got to that point. And we've stepped up and said, we'll pay for half the line. Then we said, we'll pay for the whole line. Then we said, we'll pay for the taps. And so I just want people to be aware of where the board has come from and where the board has gotten in this. And I'm not saying I expect you guys, I'm just saying that Miami Township has stepped up quite a few times. And I hope that the council takes that into consideration when we hear from them.
Because we also, in this process, have had multiple conversations over the years on the water bulk fill station. So we eliminated that. So we saved multiple thousands and maybe close to that by eliminating the bulk fill station, by getting this water line in. Am I right or wrong?
You're right, at least.
So
What
anyway,
these would cost.
getting back to it, I just wanted these gentlemen to be aware there could be a charge, but evidently he already knew that. And I appreciate what Justin's going to try to do, take this to council, but I just wanted to make it on record that maybe Justin wasn't aware of the conversations that we had prior before he took this position.
I don't believe he was.
And I thought the contractor had the taps in his bid price.
He did. They were in the original bid.
They
So-
won't pay for something they didn't do. That's what was done.
So that's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. She.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Brett?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment related to this. But I also have something I want to talk to the board about too.
All right, how about, if you got a comment on this, let's take that now, and then we'll do public comment later.
I just want to, and you have to understand,
Do you want to have him step up?
Can
my memory.
you come up to the mic so
Oh,
we
you
can
want me to come up
record
with
it? Yeah.
that? Okay. Yeah. My name's Chuck Burkhold, 604 Colbury Court, Cleves, Ohio. And you know, I served as mayor, but prior to that, these conversations were going on back as far as, if I remember, 2021. The village administrator at that time was Mike Rahal, and quite frankly, everything was stalled until basically I became mayor, and then we had conversations. Jim was involved in that, Dan was involved in that. We did not have discussions about tap fees at that point. But Justin Habig took over as village administrator on September 1st, 2024. And based on all conversations I heard in here, that was all part of it. What you just said, there was supposed to be no fee. And I don't know what discussions took place between you and Justin Habig, but that was the discussion that took place in here. And from that point, I would think he should have been aware of the no fee. Now, with that said, I don't know any more about it because I'm no longer involved in that. And quite frankly, as village administrator in Ohio Revised Code, he has sort of total control. Now, whether the council approves that or not, that's something you're going to have to wait to see. But I agree with you, there shouldn't be any charge to the residents on Jordan. And I'm sort of surprised to hear tonight that there is. So if I'm understanding what you're saying, just so I understand, when you're talking about a tap fee, okay, and now you're talking about a meter fee, okay, generally, don't those things go together? The tap fee brings you the meter at the same time?
Correct. But if you, and this is what I recall from the previous fees, and so we're going on my memory, which is, you know, just about as long as my nose. If there was already a tap, but there was no meter, you had to pay for a meter.
And this is back when you were the fiscal officer?
Yes.
I can't speak to that.
And I'm just going by pure memory. I have nothing in writing that says that.
And going back to your point about the 50-50, that was an agreement between Eric Winhusen in the initial thing. So you're not wrong in that. You're correct in that. And then all that sort of fell apart once Justin took over the administrative. So I can't speak to those. I was not involved in those meetings, so I don't know that. But you're not wrong in what you're saying. You're not wrong in what you're saying. And I have no influence when it comes to what the council will or won't do. But I think to say Justin isn't aware of that it should have been paid for, should have been part of that process, then that's a communication problem between the two of you, okay? Not the trustees, not the contractor, whatever it was you guys discussed, that should be hammered out in my mind, that the two of you figure out what was part of those discussions. Because I don't think any of the trustees sat in those meetings. I didn't sit in any of those meetings. You didn't sit in any of those meetings. The only one that's going to know are the two administrators. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. All right. Anything else for Mr. Brett? All right, let's go on to old business. First on the docket is a proposal to design a new playground area and proposal for reworking the rear of the administration event center. And there was a cost here for $19,000. Mr. Brett, do you want to?
Yeah, so we asked Bear Becker because they've been very good at working with our park system and have done all our work at West Park and the Pat and June Park, and they've this is well under what has to go out for bid, and because we're comfortable with them and because I think Mark has done a good job for us and Heather has done really good with our playgrounds, we asked them to come up, take a look, and make a recommendation on what could be done in the back. We have UDF cleared out this scrub on the hillside for us. They were going to look into where the actual blue stream starts in the back, and they were going to make a recommendation to possibly move the playground area up where the swing sets are and rework that hillside so that we could get it so it could be maintained, and the landscaping that United Dairy Farmers is going to do would blend with ours, and it would all look great, I hope. And so it already looks better with this scrub gone. So they also were going to look at the possibilities for the ball field, whether we would turn it into parking, if we would do something else with it, if we would move playground up there, or if we would fill in right field, which is about 7.5 foot lower than left field. So it would make it a more viable ball field. And that also would entail you'd have to do fill dirt in the walking trail, feather all that into the existing topography, redo the walking trail in that area. And the walking trail needs some upgrades and things, and maybe look at the possibility of putting some lighting out there. I know Mr. Volrath has been a big proponent of getting a camera out there. And so I was actually looking at getting the dead trees cut out of there this year anyway. So that was their proposal. They could come up with a design and some options for us on everything for that amount.
All right, so you want to comment on anything?
Yeah, so, I think that this is overdue. I've been kind of pushing to look at the grounds up here for quite some time. We've spent millions of dollars elsewhere throughout the county, and when you think of Miami Township, you think of Shady Lane and Bridgetown. This is our community center. This is our event center. This is where our board meetings are. This is where our administration office is. This is where our fire department headquarters is. We have thousands and thousands of people that come through here every single year for any number of events. This is where we hold our summer concerts. This is the hub of Miami Township. And so we have worked recently on trying to restore the exterior of the building. And now, in my opinion and others' opinions, I've talked to business owners around here, with all the movement going on with UDF and James Landing and everything else, I don't know that there's a better time than now to take a look at the grounds here and make some improvements. So I think that this makes sense to me. This doesn't commit us to anything. These are proposals and ideas and help us formulate priorities and what we want to do short term, what we maybe want to do long term. And so I'm supportive of it, and I know we don't have Trustee Blanton here, but I know we tabled it last month. I was ready to make a motion then. I'm ready to make a motion now, but looking to hear from input from Trustee Volrath.
All right, so a couple of things. Number one, I am never going to be a proponent of moving that ball field until we got some additional answer for girls softball. That field is just used constantly. I think that is something there. I definitely see the need for playground equipment. I definitely see the need for the walking trail. I don't necessarily see or feel the need to spend $20,000 to put a stage in back there and some other upgrade stuff without really understanding what that area is going to look like back there. I would be open to the conversation to get I know we have to get the playground equipment taken care of.
Yeah, that's a safety.
I think that's something that needs to happen outside of this. And the walking trail's got some safety issues back there. Mm-hmm. I'm perfectly fine with pulling those two things out and saying, let's get that accomplished. Let's have more conversation about what this looks like. I'm not good with spending the 19 on this at this point.
Okay, and I appreciate those thoughts. Does it make sense though to do sort of individual projects without looking at the overall concept of what we're trying to make this campus be. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Brett, but again, these would just be, they would give us ideas, proposals, suggestions, thoughts, things to consider. And even if they looked at more than the walking trail and the playground equipment, that doesn't mean that we would have to move on any of those things. Those would just be ideas, and that if that time we could pick out and say, well, we want to start with the walking trail and the playground, but at least we have conceptually an idea of what could, this campus could be. And I'm not saying I'm against your approach. I'm just trying to, again, talk through it and understand the best way to move forward.
We even have in this, they were going to look at the possibility of adding some offices here, either for additional staff, for the sheriff's department, if we wanted to ask them to move some people up here. So it's not just, looking at right now, it's looking at what could be for the future. And kind of like I said to the Eagle Scout young lady, one of the reasons I suggested the area that I did is whatever we do, I know that area won't be touched, so she won't be doing all that work, and then next summer we rip it out, because I would never want to do that to her. So I think it would be good to know what we can do, and I really think there was some stuff with the swing sets that need changed and things. I would like to see that. The only thing out of this that I'm really in favor of is getting that area combined. But if we're not going to do a stage down below, then maybe we look at doing two areas. Somewhat similar to what we're having to do at West Park, the existing park, with the two areas that we had to replace down there. So, if you want to go ahead and, cancel the stage area and do to those, then whatever you guys decide, other than knowing what we have to do to meet the insurance company's requirements, consider me Switzerland. I'll go with whatever you guys decide.
I mean, let's say they say these are 7 ideas, here. I mean, couldn't we say, well, let's, in the first year, let's tackle these 2 things, and then year 2, year 3, maybe we look at these things. I don't know. What I don't want is for us to say we want to deal with this and this, and then, a year from now, have some other proposal and go, man, we shouldn't have made that decision or this decision because that could impact something else with the grounds here. I mean, it's a lot of, it's a decent amount of money, but I would just like to have the whole picture if possible. But if we don't have support for that, then I don't know if you have another specific proposal, but that's just how I'm looking at this.
All right, yeah, I'm still at the point where if we want to have Bear Becker look at this and combine those areas, the playground areas, I'm good with that. Getting some lighting back on a walking trail, I'm good with that. Repairing the walking trail, I'm good with that. Putting some new benches back there and making that look nice. I am not a proponent of touching that ball field. I'm not a proponent for the stage. Go ahead.
When they built Miami Heights, they got rid of that. My kids were young, we had ball fields. Addiston used to have a ball field. So the only ball fields we got left are the one up here, the one at West Park, and Cleveland. So we lost a lot of ball fields.
I've coached many years, and that's always the problem, is finding a ball field for these kids to play on. And until we come up with a solution for that, I'm not a proponent to move that stuff around. I understand the necessity for the playground equipment to get taken care of. That's a definite safety issue, and I think, if they want to look at doing something like that, I'd be on board with the playground area combination, and I'd be okay with the walking trail and lighting. But that's kind of where I land. Outside of that, maybe doing the rest of this down the road.
So the ball field, we're building a brand-new ball field right now that we were just discussing, correct?
That does not fix the girls softball issue.
So the softball cannot play on that field?
They can.
The new one?
The problem is, there's so many baseball teams down there that they can't get the time on the field, so this is the only place that they've been playing. That's the issue.
But we're adding a new one.
And it's being used. There's a lot of baseball teams. You got kids down there playing at 8 o'clock at night with no lights. It's an issue.
So
If we can come up with another field that, in my mind, we can do something outside. There's no practice area for the girls softball fields right now.
And I understand, but do you believe that it is the responsibility of Miami Township to supply
I do.
fields for the school to practice and play?
I do. I mean, they're Miami Township residents, yeah.
But we're talking about baseball and softball for the school, and you're saying that you think that
The
the
kids live in the
township...
township, don't they? I mean, that's the point. You know, it's.
The
Yes,
school
it's my
softball
opinion.
does not use our fields.
Huh?
The school softball does not use our fields. But there is an issue with softball,
field?
all the athletic association, trying to find fields for them, yeah.
That's just kind of where I'm landing.
No, I understand. I think that taxpayers, I don't know. I don't know where
I
are
don't-
17, 16, 18,000 residents that are taxpayers, where they would fall on that question of whether it's Miami Township's responsibility to provide. I mean, there's a need. Everyone agrees there's a need. I mean, we could build 7 fields and they would fill them, I'm sure, tomorrow and say, well, we need an 8th. So there's, that's not a disagreement. It's a matter of, is it the township? Is it the school? Is it the athletic association? Is it the athletic boosters? But everybody agrees there's a need. It's who's going to pay for it and who's going to put it in, and
Well, it's already in.
right. But we're adding a brand new one down there. My memory is that it was at the request and sort of at the dimensions that were laid out specifically. So I don't think we're going to solve this tonight, but I think that it's a bigger discussion, and it's something that I think we need to hear from the taxpayers, in my opinion, on how they think we should be utilizing our funds. But
If you
Okay.
would like to put together some of those meetings to get some input,
okay,
I'm open to that, but I do think we have a bigger problem, and that's the safety issue that's going on out there right now with the stuff the insurance company says needs to be replaced. And I think that needs to be handled now.
Can I say something as a resident?
Sure.
Not my role here.
Can you
but-
come up to the microphone, Ken?
She don't want to leave the heater.
I'm sorry. You know that people have trouble hearing, so.
Okay, I am Kim Day, and I reside in Jordan Ridge. But what I understand by reading this it is a proposal to design a new playground area and proposal for reworking rear at Administration and Event Center. But what I'm hearing tonight out of the two of you is that one is saying leave the field alone, the other is saying I want to revision the entire purpose overall for the campus. I don't see why we are not able to move forward on this with Baron Becker under the proposal for ideas. Meaning, okay, part of that is to say, we're going to have to do something with the field as it is anyway, right? Baron Becker would probably have to design something related to that field to meet specifications for whatever is coming down the pike. So that could be one of the things that they are working towards, whereas they're still doing something in the back of the building as it relates to the playground and making that a more desirable location for people and families and children to come, and after getting an ice cream cone at UDF, come down and enjoy the beauty that we have behind us that is underutilized. So I hate to see that this proposal is yet tabled again when we can see some very productive things come out of it. So I ask, as a resident of this community, that we do give it the attention that it deserves, regardless, and keeping in mind, as it says here, we are not locked into whatever comes out of this proposal. So let's get it done. And that's just the way I feel about it. Thank you for your time.
All right, I'm going to comment on just one piece here. This agreement for Bear Becker is not just a small piece, right? Additional parking spaces assumes the removal of the ball field. New stage structure for larger concerts. New structure for small gatherings, weddings, string quartets, steel drum, one-man band, private events, potential shade structures, new playground equipment and seating. It assumes removal of existing play structures, swings, benches, improved walking trail with potential lighting, cameras, and benches with a focus on connectivity, enhanced ed condition of the existing creek bed, refreshing or enhanced landscaping, consideration for potential future building expansion if the sheriff office relocates to the township building. This $19,000 that we're about to spend if this proposal goes through, in my opinion, the ball field needs to be left alone. We don't need an additional parking structure, which is part of that $19,000. I'm perfectly fine with moving forward with part of the back of this building. And that's the
Then
that's
let's
the playground
revamp
area.
the proposal as it goes forth for the instructions. But I kind of disagree, because with the ball field, I think they can do some things with the ball field, because part of that ball field on the other side is a little bit low, and that would have to come up. Wouldn't that be something we would have to put forth to Bear and Becker anyway? So why not utilize the opportunity for them to say, if this is remaining as a ball field, here's what we recommend. And so it's not an elimination. I don't think we need to take the ball field out of the proposal. I just say, let's see what they can do, including keeping the ball field where it is currently, and what they would need to do to get it to whatever specifications, but let's not stop the rest of the idea of growth and development and utilization, knowing everything else that is coming, that we can't provide a better environment for the residents when they come up and use it.
Appreciate it.
So the one thing that I kind of, I guess I added it with Mark after this was, if we're not going to, so we have the option of what we're going to do with the ball field. And I still think if we keep it, we missed an opportunity to get dirt from right next door, but we still need to level that field out to make it a safer field to play on. So, in Jim's opinion, so.
This proposal that came in here, this whole proposal piece, no discussion. I think it's the same stuff. You had conversation with Mr. Bland about the parks and nobody being involved in this conversation, right? This proposal comes out, there's a lot of questions in my mind that need to be answered. There's been no public input on this. That was the exact same thing that we talked about with the park. I think getting public input on this would definitely help with that scenario. But again, I do think it comes down, we get the safety issue with all the playground stuff. We've got a safety issue with the walking trail.
Well, I agree, but I thought it included meetings with I thought that this was a proposal to have a town hall or, engagement with the public, but maybe.
That was part of the discussion.
I mean,
once we had this.
That was my contention, is that if you can't, you got to have something to talk about. And so if I'm engaging with the public, or we're engaging as a board, hopefully with the public, you want to say that this is what they're talking about, and these are some ideas, and again, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, we love it all, we hate it all, whatever the situation is. And the other thing that I pushed back on in the past was that a lot of times there wouldn't be a price tag with it. And my example was always, I would love a Lamborghini, and then you tell me it's a $250,000, and I say, well, I don't want a Lamborghini anymore. So, I think that having something tangible that we can look at and say, here are some ideas, and these are estimates of what it cost, and now let's have meaningful discussions with the public as a board. All that is the way I think these things should go. And you're right, I was very critical of the process the last time because I don't think that happened, and that we didn't engage the public, and a lot of times it was just concepts and ideas that everybody said, well, yeah, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and we didn't have a cost associated with it. Well, again, everybody wants everything. It's just like the ball fields. I want 7 ball fields. You tell me, okay, it costs, $8 million, and okay, I don't want, 7 ball fields anymore. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I see this, and I think that it would be beneficial to have, again, an idea of the whole campus and what could or could not be, and what we want to prioritize or what we don't. Well, maybe we say we like this, but we want to hold off for a year or two and reconsider it. I don't know. But it's, I don't know.
If we move forward with this proposal, it's going to be under the understanding that when we get this back, we're going to be able to, this is not a, hey, we get this, we agree to this, we're just going to go forward with the project as stated.
Sure.
This is going to be pulling things out, putting things in, getting the public input as we're getting this design.
That's how I see it. I do think that time is of the essence to some degree, in that, like I said, with everything going on with James Landing, everything going on with UDF, things that are going on with the business corridor here, but no, I'm not going to ramrod this through like has been done before in some situations, and just say it's full speed ahead. I think that's the proper way to do it, and that's how I see it playing out. It's again giving us some guidance on possibilities. If we want to revamp,
I just don't see, with 19,000 coming in here, and we're looking at a new stage structure for larger concerts, we're looking at this permanent stage structure. I don't really see the need for a permanent stage structure.
okay.
How does that impact the bid, right? How does that impact what Bear Becker's looking at versus, I don't see, some of this other stuff that's in here as necessary. Does that impact what Bear Becker charges on this, whether it's 15,000 versus 19? I'm okay with the,
But I don't think it does. It's just a design.
It's the whole
Yeah,
area.
it's a design template.
So if I can, just one other thing, because I like to think ahead on this, and as I'm hearing you talk about the need for ball fields and, providing them for the youth baseball folks, if you come up here and we have our public meetings and everybody says, oh, this would be a great place to put a permanent stage, and it's if just a rendering or something like that they see, and they say, we want to consider that, then you say, well, if we're going to take a ball field out of service up here, then we need to replace it somewhere, and then that's going to cost approximately this plus acquisition of the ground. And maybe enough people say, hey, yeah, let's go build another ball field. I'm not sure where we do that, but
I don't see the need for another parking lot at this point.
I don't think the emphasis when we were talking was to get rid of the ball field now, was to you know,
Right there.
have plans for
That's
the
number
future.
one item on the list.
Well, yeah,
New
but,
ball field.
yeah, so is adding on to the building and, yeah.
All right,
But,
let's-
you know,
And just to clarify, the discussion about the parking lot, again, if you come up here on a Friday, Saturday, sometimes Thursday night, if there's an event here and there is, you know, NCAA tournament or Friday night whatever, or trivia, or whatever the situation is, that parking lot, whatever direction I'm looking, is busting at the seams. They're coming over here trying to park in our parking lot.
Is
Our
that
people
not-
are trying to have their event that they paid for to utilize our space, and they're going, well, there's no parking because, you know, we've only got so much parking, and people are coming over here to use it. And so, especially, and then when we have large events like the summer concert that we're about to have in 2 days, you know, I would respectfully disagree as far as that, you know, I don't think we just have all this parking. I think that that happens on a regular basis on weekends and major events and
Can I
things.
ask one question? Why don't we have the events down at the park, West Park?
Hey, I amend that.
It's a valid
Because
question.
there's all that parking, what we just put in there. You got the school.
You got a place for a stage.
And that just limits the amount of people that can come up here. And
Well-
as far as the private guy over there, he wants to put parking lot for his events because he doesn't want to pay for any more parking.
That's absolutely 100% correct. That individual that owned that center up there has had multiple options to buy the house next door, put additional parking in there. Like, coming back to your question earlier, what do I feel like, is it the township's responsibility to provide for a private business their parking? That's not our issue.
I agree. I'm just saying they do it, and it's hard for our staff to enforce it. And so to answer Mr. Williams, your question, in my mind, again, we've talked about that multiple times as far as the concerts, and that floods, and we know it floods, and it floods pretty dramatically.
We don't do a permanent stage now, correct? We have two
Correct, but,
concerts.
correct.
We have two concerts.
Right.
That doesn't flood during our concerts.
But if it rains up here, we can still have an event because it's blacktop. If we
have the parking lot down there.
if we have-
All the parking lot for the softball, there's tons of parking more than here.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you there's 3 more times. And you can use the school parking lot.
So here's kind of where I am, Mr. Rose, and if we want to get this looked at by Baron Becker, I'm fine with that, just as long as we understand, I'm not good with all the items that are in here. I want to have some public input on this, multiple public input meetings where we can get individuals up here to, because if we're going to do this, we want to do it right.
Correct. Could not agree more.
But I'm going to come back to this, the playground stuff. I think we got a real serious issue here where we almost
gotta
have
be
to do
done.
something with this
Right.
playground right now. So
And-
you tell me where that lands, because
I would, if you're asking me, I would suggest that we talk with Mark and Heather and say, you know, what would you see for a reasonable spot here where the swing sets are for some type of a playground system to go in there to replace the 2 that we have now, the swings and the other set. And then we go through this and we don't spend forever doing it. You know, we make up our mind soon, and then by next spring, if we're not gonna do a stage there and we're gonna do a playground equipment, then we get that ordered and get it in next spring so it's done. And we aren't sitting around for 2 years.
I don't think we can wait till next spring for this playground equipment, the way that this insurance company has played this.
Well, now I'm saying, put a playground system in where the swing set is. Take that playground out, but make a commitment that by next spring, we're gonna decide what we're gonna do with that space at least. If that's one of your, you know, we can do this. And if it's not gonna be a smaller gazebo or stage, and it's gonna be a playground, then we put another piece of playground equipment in there, and we kind of plan that ahead of time. And that can be phase 1 of that phased-in project. And I'll go back to, I still would like part of that phase 1 if we're looking at it and everybody says, no, we want to save that ball field, even if it's for now, until we find a place to build more, I still would like to level that field up so it's a safer field to play on.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that. But we do need to get something done in the back now, and I think we need to have something for the kids to play on.
I mean, there are a few things, but yes, the playground for safety, that's one. But like we said, there's safety issues with the walking trail. There's safety issues with the ball field if we're going to keep it. I mean, these are things that, again, I don't know that we have the luxury to just say, let's only deal with one or two things. I think, like Mr. Redd is saying, I think if we look at the holistic total approach, but say these are priority items, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, based on mostly safety being, the biggest driver in that, and that we have, input. I mean, maybe there's unanimous support for some of these issues, particularly, again, those safety issues, but that, again, as a whole, we have public input.
There's also the possibility that, aside from this, the one playground set, they will say, we don't want to do anything right now. That's always possible too. After you have public input, if people come up and go, don't spend our money here, then, you do what the people want, in my opinion.
Right.
Well, if we're going to do this aspect, I don't know why we've been sitting with an empty corner up there for 50 years now. I don't know why we don't continue that design with that. If we're going to pay Bear Becker to do that, let's design it all the way to the corner.
Well, we've had a lot of discussions there, and I just had a meeting with Mr. Brett and our consultant again on and pushing the whole Shady Lane and Bridgetown corner, and I agree. Again, I've put proposals together of different welcome to Miami Township beautification efforts that I've seen elsewhere that I think would work really well and look great here. But I'm constantly told that we should not move forward with some of that until we figure out what kind of curbs, what kind of sidewalks, what kind of, if it's going to be turn lanes. I don't know. Maybe we can, and try like heck not to double up the work. But we'd hate to put something in and then say, well, I wish we didn't have that here. So I don't know. Thoughts?
Again, I know I've been talking about this because I think I sent everybody the preliminary stuff for the mini planning grant. That opens in August. I pretty much have that ready to go on opening day. And that would help us figure out what the state will help us do at Shady Lane, because somewhere along the line, something needs to happen there. Dog trot is a horrible corner. That actually has some traffic issues that might make the whole corridor project work better. And, so it would be working from basically dog trot through the township line. And that grant would help us pay to have somebody come in, do just this, come up with a couple options or 3 options for everything. And then we would have the cost and the information and, and time frame so that we could go out after state funding for the road. And again, I've been a critic of ODOT in the past, but they've been better to work with in the past couple years. And I'll give credit where credit's due. They're turning that around. And between them and Eric Beck at the county, he made the commitment to us that he would double up or double down on trying to help us with this intersection and dog trot when they had their meeting with the Township Association here. I think you're right. I just hate to go up there, build something really nice, and then have to rip it out and move it back because we're going to put a roundabout or a turn lane in. So, you haven't seen it yet, I don't think, Mr. Volrath, but Mike has seen the preliminary estimate for a double-sided display sign out here that we could put messaging on. Not cheap.
Yeah, I think you're
but-
probably, am I in the ballpark at 70 grand?
Well, actually, then it may be cheap compared to what you're thinking, but, so it's a little less than that, but you're not too far off. And that's for a 4x8, because my instruction to the company was, I want people to be able to see it when they're up the road turning out of the plaza, because that's where the majority of the traffic can come in and go out. So, and the people coming from UDF, I've said before, UDF is hoping that the service road that used to go to LCMB will be a road that most of their traffic will use coming in and out, so that they're not turning left on Bridgetown and immediately turning left on Shady Lane. They'll just come out this back way and go down Shady Lane. So I think something like that there. Mike hasn't had it long enough to see it for me to give everybody else his thoughts on it, but yeah, I think that, and actually was Mr. Beck who said, if you're going to do something out here and replace the one that we can't buy parts for, why don't you put something perpendicular to the road so we can see it from both ways? And I think that was well thought out. So that's coming down the road too. I just hate to ask for too much money at one time.
All right. Do you want to make a motion on this?
Sure. I will make a motion that we approve the proposal to design new playground area and proposal for reworking rear at administration/event center by Bayer Becker, the total cost of $19,000.
Okay, I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, next on the agenda, resolution number 2026, feels like 2026-11, a resolution declaring the necessity of levying a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of providing for operation expenses Miami Township, Hamilton County, and further requesting the county auditor to certify matters in connection therewith.
We kind of beat this one to death.
Is
This
this
the rewording?
Third time.
This is,
Did you make a motion, or are you just bringing it up for?
So I'm bringing this up.
Okay.
This is iteration, what, 11 now?
yes,
Okay, fantastic.
started at 9.
Right.
All right. I'll make a motion that we get these valuations for resolution number 2026-11.
And I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right. Next on the agenda, new business. The administration building here, firehouse, boiler, emergency repairs. This
Please.
building, that boiler is,
Please approve.
had to
It's
be-
miserable.
This building had to be
work up
shut
here.
down. There was CO2 coming in through here. I guess the total cost on this, so we're looking for a motion on this, Mr. Robertson, for $33,500 for the emergency repairs.
Yeah, I mean, for the public, this is just one of those things. Something breaks and you can't do without it. So no one likes to bite the bullet, but it is what it is. So I will make a motion that, because our staff and guests need to be comfortable here. So I will make a motion that we confirm the repairs to the administration/firehouse headquarter boiler emergency repairs for Triton for $33,500.
I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, and then on here, we got a setting a time for special meeting. Do we want to wait?
Said hold off on that.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. we
I
got-
think if I just have a consensus that when we get it back, we'll hold that special meeting and public notice it, and then meet to decide if you want to put that on the ballot.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, public comments. We have Mr. Burkholz. We can try to keep our comments to the 5-minute mark or less, that'd be appreciated.
First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me an opportunity to speak tonight. I come here as a private citizen this time, resident of Miami Township and the Village of Cleves, and I'm a former government teacher. To me, that's important as I'm watching tonight. In fact, your discussions tonight are actually relevant and tied into what I was going to talk about. So you, as government officials, have a difficult job to do because of the fact that you face many factions within the community. The Village of Cleves is exactly the same situation. And as we approach our nation's 250th birthday, I want to clarify why I'm using the term factions. Factions are described in our founding documents, particularly in Federalist 10, who was written by James Madison. And for those that don't realize it, there were actually two different books, two different views of what America should be: the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist. The Federalist Papers won out, and Madison's known as our founding father of the Constitution. You know, he took copious notes. In fact, he did it in 5 different languages so that nobody would be able to interpret it, because it was very secret as they were debating these things. But in that essay, Federalist 10, Madison warns about factions. Whether it's a minority or it's a majority, they pose a danger when they pursue interests contrary to the rights of citizens or the long-term good of the community. And that's basically what you're talking about tonight, is the long-term good of the community. And you got a lot of different factions, okay? I think, Mr. Robeson, you were talking about whether or not it was the township's responsibility to build another ball field. One of those factions, the township faces, and so does the village. It would be TRCAA. They've spoken here. Your school district is a faction, those that support the public schools. And they want what they want, and they have very compelling arguments to try to get the various entities to do what they want. There's another part of this, though, that involves another person that I used a lot when I taught, and that was Adam Smith in The Wealth of Nations. He also took a look at factions. He also took a look at politicians. In fact, one of the quotes that you can look it up very easily is, "I've never known much good done by those who affect to trade for the public good." In other words, he would look at politicians as people that will tell you they're doing things for you, the citizen, when they may be doing it for themselves. I'm not casting any aspersions, but everybody has their view of what to do, what not to do, and the tendency is we still act in our own self-interest. It doesn't make any difference if you're a politician, a teacher, a village administrator, or a township administrator. People act in their own self-interest, and that's okay to an extent, as long as it doesn't go overboard. You know, Smith was pretty clear that self-interest is not inherently destructive. So when people come to you and they ask for ball fields or whatever, that in itself is not necessarily a problem. But I want you to be aware, in the Village of Cleves, right now, if you're not aware, I hope you're aware, they are proposing to put a 1% income tax on their residents. And you also ought to remember the fact that we were just narrowly able to pass a safety levy. And, you know, you're talking about things that you have to do in this township. Well, the Village of Cleves has things to do too. And when you have a transparent conversation like that, it brings out the people who aren't in favor of it. Cindy, you had the opportunity to sit through that meeting. You sat through multiple meetings. I've only gone to one. And I'm going to talk about some of those things tonight. I don't want to cast any aspersions. I don't want to tell you that I know what's going on in somebody's head, and I'm not doing it to criticize. But I am bringing it to your attention because one of those individuals is Ryan McDonald, who serves on the school board. He is a Cleves resident, and he has spoken to almost every meeting against the income tax. And he is very articulate. He makes his case. But in that, he also said some things that affect you as as individual trustees. And at the first or second meeting, he came out and very boldly said, well, we ought to disband the Village of Cleves. The township has plenty of TIF money, and they can repair our roads. Remember that, Cindy? And that may be true. In fact, I think, Tim, I asked you and Dan to find out one way or the other, and I think you spoke to your attorney. And I think the way the Ohio law reads is that you can do it if you can show that it benefits the original TIF district. And that's fine, okay? And I asked through a Facebook exchange I had with Mr. McDowell to come here tonight and ask you guys directly, okay, would you be supportive of that? Unfortunately, he did not come here tonight. And unfortunately, when we take a look at people making statements like that in a village, some people are going to believe it as factual. It's an automatic. It's going to happen. I don't think it is an automatic. I think the trustees have to agree that it is a benefit, okay, to your TIF district because Cleves was not part of that original TIF district. So I think that's a pretty bold statement. And quite frankly, I don't know what his motives are, what his true motives are. Only he knows that, okay? He is the one who's saying it, and he's saying, I really want a minimal government. He said that in another meeting. What does that mean, minimal? I question that. Do you want a minimal education? Well, I didn't get an answer on that, but I do know that he also said in that same meeting that it isn't going to be too long until the Three Rivers Schools comes back for a levy. And I don't blame the Three Rivers Schools for that. The state legislature has a whole lot to do with it. They've cut funding not only to schools, but local governments too. And that causes challenges. But it's very important that when you're talking to the public that you're talking, that you can prove exactly what you say, and what you say is exactly what you mean. So when I take a look at factions, there's a bunch of factions that were coming against Cleves. And so you know, I personally support the income tax, but as I told you, Tim, I'm getting ready to move, okay? And there's a lot of different reasons. You know, my wife and I need to downsize, but there's other reasons involved in that too. It would actually benefit me as a senior citizen, okay, the 1% income tax. It could also benefit the township, Miami Township or Whitewater Township, because if there is a tax, as Jim well knows, you can create a JED, and that provides other sources of revenue for the township, because the township in Ohio cannot actually have an income tax, but you can get revenue if you form a JED. But none of those things have ever made it to light, because quite frankly, right now, the Village of Cleves doesn't have to get approval from the citizens, okay? They can do it on their own, but to the credit of this council, they're actually giving people an opportunity to give their ideas. I'm going to move on to another particular situation. Once again, not inside their head, but we had another resident come up, a TRCA parent, village resident, Joshua Cox. He made some statements in the meeting, which in the Facebook account, Ryan McDonald used as justification against the 1%. He was concerned about the fact that the ball fields weren't ready. Am I right on that, Cindy? And he made a statement, no facts presented. He simply made the statement, I've been observing the maintenance staff for 3 weeks, and I'm underwhelmed. Getting the fields ready was not important. That statement was made on the 10th of June. I have all of the NOAA maps that shows the levels of flooding. The Cleves Park between March 21st and the 28th of March flooded 3 times. They flooded the fields. If you've never been down in the Cleves Community Park, it's not Miami West. They do not have the drainage ability. Even if we could put it in, there's restrictions by the EPA that prevent us from excavating. I think, Jim, you're well aware of that.
Yes.
So sometimes what we get in the Village of Cleves is criticism that we have no control over. We can't control the floods. We can't control there's no drainage. We can't control that it floods our fields. However, I can tell you that our maintenance department was put under great criticism. And Cindy, you sat there and you listened to it. Okay, the maintenance department, for the record, it wasn't said in the meeting, but I sent this straight to our village council, so you are aware. Our maintenance department has no say, no control, nothing to do with our fields. And that was determined in a March 2025 meeting where Village Administrator Habig took complete control of the preparation of the fields along with the park coordinator. And he ordered the village maintenance department, and they're still under that same order currently, not to touch those fields. But I found out one thing for sure in life.
3 times.
If you leave information out there that's wrong and you don't correct it, it becomes factual. And unfortunately that night, he sat very quiet, okay, and never defended our maintenance department at all. He never once said, I'm the one who made the decision not to do that. Instead, he sat quietly. That is what my concern was there. I'm correcting it here, and I will be correcting it publicly at the next village council meeting, because nobody deserves to take blame for something they had no control over, but that happened. Now, how did Ryan McDonald use that? How did Joshua Cox use it? You can't even manage your resources effectively, and you want more money from your residents. When those things go out and you hear that, people believe that. I disagree with that. Their village money is not being misspent. It is not being put in different places where it shouldn't be. I will agree that because of the fact that there is a Twitter account that was not updated, okay, and he was upset about that, that's a problem. But that wasn't the maintenance department's problem either. But because you have these factions, okay, because you have them, elected officials have to deal with that. And you well know, as trustees, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, you're building more subdivisions here. That's going to require more fire protection, more police protection. All of that costs money. So I'm asking you just a few questions tonight as the representatives, not only for the unincorporated area, but also for the Village of Cleves residents. Are you ready tonight to commit that if the Cleves goes out of business and dissolves, that you will agree that repaving the roads, you'll use your TIF money to do that? That's a simple yes or no.
I don't think that comes down to a simple yes or no. I think that comes down to, there would have to be a lot of conversation.
And that's what I hoped I would hear tonight, that there would be a lot of conversation, because there should be a lot of conversation. You gave a lot of conversation about what to do up here. You would have to give an equal amount of that to taking over the costs of repaving Cleves roads and repairing infrastructure. And there would have to be a case made that it benefited your TIF district.
Great.
The second thing, I guess, what I'm going to ask deals with the costs of fire protection and police protection, because that can't be paid for out of TIF. That's going to have to come from your general fund. And if Cleves goes out of business, they become Miami Township residents. So am I correct or am I incorrect, okay, that you haven't had a general fund levy, a new one, for new money
For a long time.
over 50 years?
Oh, probably longer than that, yeah.
How much do you have any idea what the average home, I don't know how you say it, I guess value has gone up?
Right,
It'd be significant, wouldn't it?
right.
Do you think it would be a large millage that you would have to ask for?
I can't,
You don't know right now,
I couldn't,
okay? But Cleves residents would have to pay that. And that would be all based on new revenue. None of that is being discussed. The JED was not discussed, and I blame a little bit of that on the village. The village needed to be prepared to have those conversations and to answer those questions. And they've done a pretty good job. I think Mayor Meisler has done a fantastic job, okay? But at the same time, how do you correct the misinformation? They really didn't correct it the other night. I'm not sure I'm correcting it totally tonight, but I wanted to make sure I got at least some things on the record for village residents to understand that I can communicate. That you're not going to escape paying for fire protection. If you go into Miami Township, you're not going to escape it. If you're going into Miami Township and the sheriff's department's our sheriff's contract, you're going to be looking at probably close to $3.5 million. With Cleves gone, possibly Addison being gone, North Bend won't be far behind. And who's going to wind up paying the cost of that police protection in its entirety? All Miami Township residents. Every single one of us. So to think that we would just simply dissolve, do you believe that's the answer?
I do not.
I don't either. And I hope when this is all said and done, the Village of Cleves needs more money. There's no way to get around it. I think this new 1%, if it would go through, Cindy, I haven't sat into meetings with Rita, but I believe it will bring in about $1.2 million.
Yeah, it depends.
That's a
Between
criticism.
$1 million and 1.4.
Yeah, just so you know.
Right.
I've been taking phone calls from residents because they can't find that anywhere on the website or the information sheet. It's never been discussed in a public meeting. And they don't know how it's going to be spent. So I guess when I'm closing here tonight, I'm just asking you guys to be aware of these issues, to help in any way that you can. If your residents are asking questions, I guarantee you the conversation's out there. And some people are going to talk facts, and other people are going to talk misinformation because they're going to act in their own self-interest. No one wants to pay more taxes. I haven't seen anybody in my 76 years, soon to be, that said, they get up in the morning and say, let me pay more taxes. That is not human nature. And I'm just going to say to you and this is to all, if you have an administrator, whether it be Jim Brett or it's Justin Habig, oversight is critical. Because what they say or what they don't say is significant. And silence is not an answer when your employees are being criticized. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other public comment? No other cards?
Can I just point out,
Yeah.
this is nothing about what Chuck just said, but we passed the rules of decorum and kind of how the meeting was going to go, and I think we need to be cognizant of the time because if we're going to keep others on a restricted time of 3 minutes, it was the suggested time, I think we need to just be consistent. So nothing about what you said, but we
apologize if I went
we need to just be consistent, and if we hold someone else to that standard, then
Fair enough.
that's going to be a problem.
Fair enough. All right.
Can I say one thing? This is totally different. Totally different topic. Quick question, anyone can address it. Once again, my name's Barry Moorline. I noticed today, I think the construction of the library has started. Do we own the building that the library's in right now with the senior center?
As far as I know, that's our
Yeah.
building, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And from what I understand, the library pays us $1 a year.
if we get it.
Okay, if you get it. My question is, and we don't hear it anymore, we don't have our
Department heads.
show up at the meetings. I had an opportunity today to visit the senior center. Was I impressed? I think it's great we got a senior center. So if we're starting construction of the library, I'm assuming the library is going to move. So the senior center has an opportunity to get larger. Have we discussed amongst the trustees on what we're going to do with the extra area? And is there anything in the near future for improvements from what I've seen to the senior center, or do we all think that that place is just great?
I think the conversation has been, what do we do with that building? And I don't think we've got an answer. I don't want to speak for, I think everybody's kind of got an idea what they would want to do with it. The issue down with the senior center in my mind is parking.
Exactly. And I want to get out of here because I know we got 3 minutes. Parking and the access for the people of their age that are trying to enjoy their life is difficult with the parking lot. And also, guys, I don't want to be critical, but the restroom hasn't been updated in 45 years.
Inside too, right.
And that was just my thought. And I know some people, it might be great, but we're spending money on parks. Mm-hmm. We're throwing it. We're talking about parking lot. Did we forget our seniors? Kind of just stuck a little sword in my side today thinking, did we forget about them? Maybe I'm thinking of it because I'm one now. But that's just a thought I wanted to throw out there because I know it takes a lot of time. And it could take years, but maybe it's time we start thinking.
I mean, for me,
Thanks a lot.
I can assure you that there's been a lot of discussions, I think, with every single trustee and with our administrator. So it is very, very, very much on our radar. And I think that there's, like I said, been a lot of ongoing discussions individually with Jim and trying to figure out what the best approach is. But yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So if I can just mention, I don't know if everyone here received this, but the official groundbreaking for the new library is going to be Monday, June 29th at 4 p.m. So if you're not doing anything on Monday at 4 p.m. on the 29th, they're going to do probably the gold shovel thing. So I think that'll be a great kickoff for the fall or for the summer. So.
All right, I'm going to go ahead. I know we got the executive schedule next. I wanted, while the public's here, if they want to stick around, maybe some comments from the board. I'll start with you.
Okay. I attended Miami Fort Safety Days within the last few weeks. It's always good to see the good folks down there. And again, they recently celebrated their 100-year anniversary, and we had fire department representatives down there participating in that. So it's great to see that they're thriving. I had a discussion with the representative from Texas Gas, and they are continuing to move forward with the pipeline efforts to transition to a natural gas plant from a coal plant. I think that they said that the goal is spring of '28 for that to be. So, they want to be careful because we know you put a date out there and everybody goes, oh, well, that's the date. I mean, there's a lot of things still in the works that they're doing land acquisitions and trying to make sure that they can get the permitting to run that pipeline. But again, it's good news that it looks like the crisis is averted and that they will continue their operation. I also toured the Invention Camp down at Three Rivers summer camp, and that was awesome to see the kids being creative down there. And then I recently toured Camp Friedlander Skilled Trades Center out there. So I don't know how many scouts have ever camped out there, but they're actually in their summer camp right now, and it was impressive to see sort of their workforce development training facility. But otherwise, like Jim said, knock on wood, it looks like we have great weather in store for Friday night, and please spread the word and come on out and enjoy the summer concert. Michelle Robinson, spelled differently, and no relation. I'm excited to see her. I've heard good things, and I think we've got a good lineup ready to go. That's all I got.
Okay.
I don't have anything, but thank you.
Jim, any closing?
Nothing to add, sir.
All right, and then I know Cleves is having their 250 celebration on the 27th. So they're going to have some live music and fireworks and so forth down there. So, I think it'd be a good time. So, going to open for everyone. All right. At this point, I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session to consider the purchase of property, both real and personal, tangible or intangible, or to consider the sale of property, either real or personal, by competitive bid if disclosure of the information would give a competitive advantage to the other side by Division G2 of Section 121.22 of the revised code.
I will second.
All right, Mr. Valria?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
And that was at 7:50.
That's what I put, yeah.
Yeah.
At 8:27.
I'll make a motion that we return from executive session.
And I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
8:27.